Welcome back to my channel, girls. I'm Ashley Nicoletta, and this is GoGo 101. So if you're on the road to being a go-go dancer in the future, you have to know where you came from. And going over a little bit of go-go history is, I think, the perfect first show. But first, before I break down the history of go-go, I have to give you my credentials and tell you a little bit about myself. I started go-go dancing in Tampa, Florida in 2007, and in 2017 I moved to Seattle, Washington, where I now reside. My longest nightclub residency was at the Castle in Ybor. I was there for 7 wonderful years. They played indie on Thursday nights and goth industrial on Friday and Saturday nights. It was a really wonderful place to work because everybody is welcome and you kind of just come as you are. You know, there is no mold, there is no norm, and I think being a little weird was definitely the norm, and that was the best part. So for 9 wonderful years, I worked for Hallucination Media as their creative director and entertainment manager. I had a wonderful time working for them. I've since passed the torch on to one of my dear friends who I know will do all of their events justice. But I think the highest honor that I got was to work with DJ Monk over the years and really form an awesome, working EDM relationship, friendship. I also worked at Jackson's Bistro in beautiful downtown Tampa. That's a nightclub that's right on the water, and by day it's actually a bistro and sushi bar. It's a 5-star restaurant. Then at night it converts into a 3-room club. So out on the terrace was house music. In the actual lounge was hip-hop, and then there was also a Latin room. So we had a diverse group of people. I was also temporarily the costume director. I had a 3-year residency at the Hard Rock Cafe inside the Seminole Hard Rock Casino and Hotel. I worked for Ice Talent Agency, which is now GoGo Mobile based out of Las Vegas. That was a great experience. I worked there for 3 years, and I was temporarily the lead off and on. I also spent some time working in Tampa at a few other clubs. Prana for Sinful Dance Company. I worked at Honey Pot and the now since changed to another venue, G-Bar. G-Bar is actually where I got my start, and it was really fun to work there. But nightclubs aren't all that I do. I've also worked for over 20 national festivals. In fact, my very first gig was Sunset '07, and when it was still in Benoit Park, St. Pete for Sunset events, it was one of the first sunsets that they had, and it was really nerve-wracking, but it was so much fun and I was hooked. Some other companies that I've worked for are Insomniac, USC, Root Society for Burning Man, and I worked some side stages over the years at Ultra, but I've never made it to Maine, so my goals in life are to make it to be one of the Ultra Angels. But what was it? What was it that got me into go-go dancing? Well, I actually walked into G-Bar one day, and there were the rock star girls dancing on stage. They had Daisy Dukes on, they were flipping their hair, and they had red little tops and ripped up fishnet, and I knew that's what I had to do. I had to be a go-go dancer, because for the first time in my life, I was more certain about that than anything else. I've done a lot of other various events too, but the festivals and the nightclubs are mainly what I focused on. So why do you ask that I want to make GoGo 101 a thing? Mainly because nobody was there to tell me where to get started when I was first starting out. So why shouldn't I take all this knowledge that I have and share it with you, because it might actually make your go-go life a little bit easier. From the get-go, go-go dancing is not easy, especially if you've never even heard of it before and don't know where to get started. There's a lot that you can learn, and ultimately it is a commitment, and you have to have passion for it in order to make it work, because if you don't, it's not just going to be handed to you. This is something you have to really work at. You have to perfect everything to make it to the auditions, to make the gig, to travel the US, to go around the world. There's a lot that you have to prepare yourself for, and I want to help everyone get to their next level in their go-go career, whether you're starting out or maybe I can give you some tips and you've been a veteran of 10 years. As I said in the channel trailer, I'm going to have a topic every single month about go-go dancing, and then each week I'll post a video about a subtopic under the main idea for the month. So August is actually going to be about auditioning! Yay! We all have questions and we all have different ways of going about things, so hopefully my tips will help you. Since I started GoGo 101 in the middle of the month, I wanted to do my first episode based a little bit about me, my credentials, my experience, and actual go-go history throughout time in the ages. Well, go-go derives from the phrase go, 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 meaning high energy person. And then it derives from the French word à gogo, meaning in abundance and galore. Perhaps the world's most famous go-go dancer, Carol Doda, actually got her start on North Beach in San Francisco, California at the Condor Club in 1964. Carol worked at the Condor Club for 22 years, and she was the first to take her top off and crawl on stage and dance for everybody. And the fad just caught on instantly. In fact, the fad caught on so quickly that in West Hollywood in 1965, the Whiskey a Go-Go hired dancers as well. Whiskey a Go-Go actually gave go-go dancers their name, and they were also the first to have suspended cages from the ceilings, having their dancers inside them, also giving birth to the name cage dancer. Go-go dancing started spreading rapidly. Then, Nancy Sinatra actually featured go-go dancers in her music video for These Boots Are Made for Walking in 1966. Then in the 70s, go-go dancing actually had a downfall. A thing called go-go bars were actually born in Thailand during the Vietnam War. So these are what we know as gentlemen's clubs today, ergo giving birth to the exotic dancer. Now we have two different forms of dancing, which is go-go dancing, where dancers don't actually take their clothes off and they don't have physical contact with the customer, whereas exotic dancers, or the girls who work in go-go bars, are actually, they do take their clothes off and they do have contact with the customers. There's variations to where the fine line of go-go dancing and exotic dancing separate, but this is actually where the separation and the birth of exotic dancing came from. But have no fear, girls, because in the 80s, go-go dancing came back with a vengeance. Once again, a famous lady is responsible for the uprising of go-go dancing. Madonna started featuring go-go dancers in her videos, and in turn, New York City caught onto the trend. The first New York City club to catch on to the craze was Gigi Barnum's Room, featuring male gay go-go dancers. Then, shortly after, other New York City nightclubs started hiring female dancers to entertain the masses. And they also started putting in podiums. So this is the birth of boxes, basically. As the rave scene started to grow in the 90s, club kids were born and they took over the limelight in New York City. All across America, go-go's started to become dancers again. Even Lady Gaga was a go-go dancer in New York City once upon a time. And now it's reached the 2000s, and honestly, go-go dancing has never been bigger. And you're entering it at a really exciting time. But who's the who's who of today? Where are the dancers who created our current scene, and what are they doing? So I'm going to give you the four corners of the US of the who's who, and I'm also going to throw one extra one in there that I think is also special. So let's start in the Northeast. And that is going to be in New York City with Katie Esteba, who is the operator of Team Kitty Coalition. Now if we take it down to the southeast of Miami, that's Katie Kansas, who operates the Ultra Angels for Ultra Music Festival worldwide. Staying in the southern states, we're going to land in Austin, Texas, where Kelly is actually the operator of the GoGo Gadgets. Next, we'll take it to the southwest, and we land in LA, where Miss Easy is, who is the operator of the Insomniac Entertainers, and Team Easy, who is based throughout the entire US and also Denver. Next, we bring it to the PNW, or the Pacific Northwest, and the two leaders up here are actually CG Dancer and Kelsey Boomhauer, who are the operators of Feral Dance Crew. And one last shout out that I want to give is to Miss Ellen DeGeneres, because she is one of the most generous and kind and accepting people I've ever seen. I'm coming for you, Ellen. So that's it, gals. That's your little crash course on me and GoGo history in general. So don't forget to tune in next week when we start our first month, which is August 2019, and the whole auditioning process, from starting to find gigs to actually landing the gig and everything in between. So make sure that you stay tuned in every single week to see what's new. You can stay connected by subscribing, turning on the little notification bell, liking and sharing with your friends. I hope that my tips help every single one of you. And as always, stay glamorous, girls.